So today I'm going to go in and show you how to properly build or create a recipe in Cronometer. Now you will need a food scale in order to get the accurate measurements. This method is best utilized when you are making a large recipe. So I used this for my big batch of turkey meatballs. I'll use if I'm making a stir fry that I often make. I'll use this for my egg bake or egg frittatas, any chilies, soups, things like that that are hard and you have a lot of different ingredients in. So from this screen, this is your home screen, you're going to hit foods. When you go into food, you'll see custom meals. Custom meals would be a great thing to use if you have the same breakfast every day. So if you make a certain smoothie, you can kind of go in and add the items manually, and then every day you can go in and literally that meal, rather than adding individual items, will already be set for you. But we're going to go in and we're going to create a recipe. And we are going to create a turkey, how about this, egg frittata. So I do make an egg frittata bake pretty regularly where I utilize eggs and egg whites. So you'll see that I want to add ingredient. Now here you can use your scanner, you can scan your ingredients. We're just going to put in large eggs. Now we should be weighing the weight of these items. This says 1 large egg is the serving size there. I'm going to use 10 large eggs in my recipe, so I'm adding that to the recipe. That's my first thing. I'm going to add in liquid egg white. So I use this. Here you'll see the serving is in grams. As I'm using the food scale, I'm using 150 grams of that. I'm adding that to the recipe. Going to place the rest of this in. Peppers, sweet red raw. In grams, you'll see that gives you a bunch of different options. I'm doing just the gram button, and the total amount here is 150. Mushrooms, raw. I'm doing 100 grams of mushrooms. No, I'll typically add more to this, but just for the sake of adding all of these things in, you'll see the total recipe weight is at the bottom. So all of those items together raw is 900 grams. That's before cooking it. I will bake this recipe, okay? And the way that you can do this in order to ensure that you can kind of keep it in the container that you bake it in, or you don't have to pre-set out the servings, is I will typically put whatever dish. So if I'm using a casserole dish and I plan to keep that in the fridge, I will weigh that casserole dish ahead of time before putting all of these ingredients in. Okay, so say my 9x11 casserole dish weighs 900 grams. I know that right now. I write that down on a piece of paper. The weight of the actual food that is raw is also 900 grams, okay? When I go back in and I cook, so I'm going to bake this, I'm going to hit the next button. I'm going to do the servings per recipe. I'm just going to keep that there. It's going to be weight based, but it's the full recipe right here. Right now, we just only worry about the full recipe. I hit next. You can put that in a category if you like. If you want to put that into, breakfast foods or whatever kind of category you'd like to put that in, you can do that so you can easily find it. I'm probably going to put this in my poultry. Let me see. We have dairy and egg products. And I'm just going to put in breakfast. That's done. I'm going to hit next. So you'll see in the serving size for the full recipe, if I were to eat that whole entire thing, it would be 843 calories. We know the non-cooked weight is 900. What I'm going to do here, this is giving me the macros for that. As soon as I am done cooking that recipe, it's important for me to go through. If you go back, I skipped over this, but you'll see at the very bottom, set cooked recipe weight. That's probably going to shrink down, or it may weigh a little bit more with a little bit of water in it. I'm going to make that 945 grams. Say I weighed the whole entire thing out. So I have my casserole dish. I already know the weight of that. So when I go put the whole thing on the end when it's cooked, it's going to probably weigh it's going to weigh 945 grams plus whatever that casserole dish is, which I said was 900 grams. So you'll see 1845 on there. Take the minus the weight of the casserole dish off of it, and you'll see your cooked recipe weight is 945 grams. It's important to do that because then when we go in, this is saved. We now have the cooked recipe weight is 945 grams. As you can tell, the energy and all the calories and macros are exactly the same as it was as the raw 900 grams. Okay, I'm going to save this recipe. I'm going to go to my diary and I'm going to add my food. When I go to add food, I'm going to go in here. It's going to be custom. Under the custom is that all of your custom recipes that you have made. So if I were to eat the whole entire recipe, I would log this. You'll see serving size is full recipe. But because I actually am going to have a piece of this, I will use my food scale. It'll be at, just plain. I'll have it on 0. Put my plate that I plan to serve it in on there. 0 the scale out or tear the scale so it comes down to 0. And then add in however much of that egg frittata I want and weigh that in grams. The number I weigh in grams I put here. So say I have 250 grams of that. I add that to my diary. That egg frittata bake, you'll see, in terms of calories, that's 222 calories. It's 21 grams of protein, 4 grams of carbs, and 13 grams of fat. So it's important to do your recipes this way when you're making meal prepping or making, lasagnas. Maybe you're going to do, I made turkey meatballs, like I said, meatloaves, things like that have a lot of ingredients because you don't know how many servings it's actually going to make. Some days you might need more proteins. You might need to have a bigger piece, or you might have a little tiny piece left over, and you want to be able to weigh each time so you have the exact amount so the macros are always proper for or appropriate. Measured out down to the T for that, so you can be accurate with your measurements to make sure that your calories are in check. I hope this helps.